right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Today we are diving deep into something you've probably heard whispers about, and that's Russia's national payment system.
Yeah.
And we've got a stack of sources to unpack here.
Right.
We've got a Wikipedia article on the Mir Payment System.
Okay.
We've got a hefty strategy document.
Oh, wow.
Straight from the Bank of Russia. And then we've got a very recent oversight report from just this year.
That's a lot to dig into.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one.
It is going to be, yeah.
Yeah.
I think what's really intriguing about this whole topic is we often hear about Russia's Mir cards in the news, usually tied to, some sort of global events.
Right.
But there's a whole financial ecosystem that's brewing behind the scenes. And I think our mission today is to sort of understand how Russia has been building and adapting its payments landscape, going beyond the headlines to see what's actually happening on the ground.
Okay, so to kick things off, let's just tackle the basics here. What exactly is Mir?
Yeah.
And our trusty Wikipedia excerpt tells us it's a payment system that's operated by the National Card Payment System, NSPK for short. And get this.
Yeah.
The NSPK is owned by the Central Bank of Russia.
Interesting.
It's basically their homegrown version of like a Visa or a Mastercard.
Right.
But with a very distinctly Russian flavor.
Precisely. Yeah. And when you look at Chart 1 from the National Payment System Development Strategy document, it really paints a fascinating picture.
Okay.
You see, the whole Russian payment system is like a vibrant tapestry, It's not just about cards.
Okay.
You've got banks, of course, but then you've got payment agents popping up in the most unexpected place.
Yeah,
Even
well.
post offices are getting in on the action.
Oh, wow.
So it's a whole interconnected network.
So it's not just like you go to an ATM or you go to a bank to do your banking.
Right. It's everywhere. It's really quite fascinating how they've structured this whole thing.
That's super interesting.
Yeah.
And the strategy document reveals something else that I thought was interesting.
Okay.
Back in 2013, Russia really decided to kick their payment system modernization into high gear.
Uh-huh.
They were laying the groundwork for change long before a lot of the recent geopolitical events that we've seen in the world.
And that foresight really put them ahead of the curve, I think, in many ways.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So what were some of the big wins from that 2013 strategy?
Sure.
Well, obviously, they created the Mir system.
Right.
But they also saw this massive surge in cashless payments.
Yes.
And Chart 5 from the strategy document really drives that point home.
Yeah. It's remarkable how quickly they were able to shift towards a more cashless society.
Yeah. And then they also launched their faster payment system, or FPS.
Right. FPS. Yeah.
And it's basically, imagine near instant transfers.
Imagine the convenience. Yeah.
Talk about convenience.
It really is. I mean, who wants to wait for, days for a transfer to go through these days?
Right.
It's all about speed and efficiency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it seems like Russians have really embraced the whole cashless life.
Oh, absolutely. They have.
The oversight report shows that over 83% of retail turnover was cashless in 2023.
Wow, that's a huge number.
Which is up from just over 70%.
Right.
A few years back.
So it's a steady and significant increase.
Yeah.
It's not just about convenience, though.
Okay.
There's a deliberate push from the Bank of Russia to foster a digital economy.
Uh-huh.
They see it as a key to future growth and stability.
Okay.
So they're really putting their weight behind this transition.
But here's a question for you.
Okay.
That same report mentions that Russia had roughly 318 cashless transactions per person in 2021.
Right.
Now compare that to the UK, which had 450, the US, which is hovering around 500.
Wow.
And Singapore, which is like the cashless champion.
Right.
They clock in at a whopping 750.
That's incredible.
So what do you think explains those differences?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
And it really challenges this common narrative that we hear that Mir was solely a reaction to sanctions.
Okay.
The data tells it a more nuanced story, I think.
Okay. So Chart 4 from the strategy document shows that Mir cards were already gaining serious traction before 2022.
They were, absolutely.
By 2021, they represented about 30%
Right.
of all the cards in Russia.
A significant portion already.
Yeah, and that number wasn't slowing down.
It was on an upward trajectory.
Yeah, and then by 2023, Mir's dominance became undeniable.
It did.
Figure 4 in the report shows that Mir now holds a commanding 55% share of the market.
Wow. That's more than half.
Yeah.
That's remarkable.
So while external factors may have accelerated its rise, Mir was already on this path to success.
It was well on its way, yeah.
It's fascinating to see how they were already thinking ahead.
Absolutely.
And speaking of thinking ahead, the strategy document also hints at Mir's international ambitions.
Oh, interesting.
It mentions expanding acceptance in some EAEU countries.
Okay.
And a few tourist hotspots.
Yeah.
But let's be real.
Yeah.
I mean, the main focus is definitely on solidifying its position at home.
Right. It makes sense given the current global climate.
Yeah.
To really focus on shoring up their domestic market first before venturing too far afield.
Okay, well now let's shift gears a little bit.
Sure.
And explore this world of the digital ruble.
Okay.
This is where things get really interesting.
This is where it gets really exciting.
Okay, so Russia is diving headfirst into this world of central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs for those in the know.
Right. CBDCs, the future of money, some might say.
And it's basically digital cash.
Digital cash, yeah.
Issued and controlled by the government.
Mm-hmm.
The potential here is pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Yep.
Imagine combining the accessibility of cash, think offline transactions, with the convenience of digital payments.
Right.
That's the promise of the digital ruble.
Okay.
But there's another layer to consider here.
Okay.
Unlike private cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin,
right.
Which are decentralized, the digital ruble would be centrally controlled.
Okay.
This could potentially give the government a greater degree of influence over financial flows.
Oh, okay. That is a big deal.
It is a big deal, yeah.
Okay, but it seems like Russia is proceeding cautiously with this whole thing.
They are, yeah.
The strategy document mentions the concept being explored in 2021 with a pilot planned.
Right.
And even in the 2023 report, Chart 7 shows that it's still not fully launched.
They're taking a measure twice, cut once approach.
Yeah, they're taking it slow.
Which makes sense considering the potential implications.
Yeah, it's a big step.
It is. What's also fascinating is that the Bank of Russia isn't putting all its eggs in the Mir basket.
Okay.
They're actively working to create a diverse and competitive payments landscape.
That's smart.
It is.
So how are they doing that?
Well, they're really pushing their faster payment system, or FPS.
Right. Yeah.
Especially for business transactions.
Okay.
Page 7 of the report highlights a big push in 2023 to promote lower-cost business transactions through the FPS, even for government transactions.
Wow.
It's all about fostering efficiency and innovation.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a great initiative. But I have to ask,
sure,
while they're pushing for this diverse system, Section 2.5 of the strategy document does mention that there's a high level of concentration in the market.
Right.
It seems like one player tends to dominate many segments.
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of a contradiction there.
Yeah, isn't that a bit of a contradiction?
It is a challenge, but the Bank of Russia is actively working on solutions. They're exploring concepts like open banking.
Okay.
Think of it as allowing different financial institutions to securely share data. To boost competition.
Right.
They're also looking at bringing non-bank payment providers into the mix and establishing transparency standards to level the playing field.
Okay.
It's a work in progress.
Right.
But they're definitely aware of the issue and taking steps to address it.
That's reassuring to hear.
It is, yeah.
So we've gone from the origins of Mir to the potential of digital rubles.
Yeah.
It seems like Russia is playing both offense and defense in this whole payments game.
They are. They're being both reactive and proactive.
Yeah.
Reacting to global pressures while also proactively shaping their financial future.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a fascinating balancing act.
It is. It is. And it begs the question, what does all this mean for you?
Ooh, I like where this is going.
All right, lay it on me.
Yeah. What if Russia's digital ruble experiment is a smashing success?
Okay.
And other nations decide to follow suit?
Okay.
What would the long-term global implications be?
Right.
Think about a world where government-backed digital currencies are the norm.
Oh, wow.
How would that change your financial life?
Okay.
The possibilities are both exciting and a bit unnerving, right?
That is a serious thought to chew on.
It is, yeah.
Okay, well, that brings us to the next part of our deep dive.
Right.
We'll be exploring the risks and challenges Russia might face as it navigates this complex payment landscape.
Buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Sounds like a fascinating discussion. I'm all ears.
All right, let's dive in.
Okay, so we've seen how ambitious Russia is with their national payment system.
Yeah.
But no journey is without its bumps in the road, right? What are some of the hurdles that they might face trying to pull this whole thing off?
That's a great point. And the National Payment System Development Strategy for 2021-2023 document actually dedicates a whole section to outlining the potential risks and challenges.
Okay.
So it's like they're trying to anticipate any curveballs that might come their way.
So what keeps the folks at the Bank of Russia up at night? What are some of the big ones that they flag?
Well, one thing that's clear from the document is that they're acutely aware of the influence of big tech companies.
Right.
You know, those global giants with massive resources and cutting edge technology.
It's hard to ignore them.
It is.
They're everywhere.
They are.
And we see them making moves in the payment space all the time.
All the time.
You know, Apple Pay, Google Pay. I mean, they're already in our pockets, literally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the report highlights that Russia is seeing this trend play out on their own turf. Over 20% of all contactless payments in Russia are already happening through these big tech payment apps.
Wow.
And that number is only going up.
Right.
So it's a significant challenge.
So it's like David versus Goliath. How does Russia plan to compete with these global powerhouses?
Well, their strategy, as outlined in the document, focuses on building their own robust ecosystems.
Okay.
You know, think integrated platforms offering a whole suite of services.
Okay.
Not just payments.
Right.
They want to create a seamless and compelling user experience. That can rival what these big tech companies offer.
Okay, so they're essentially trying to build like a digital fortress.
They are.
With its own unique features and advantages.
Precisely.
Okay.
They want to create something that's uniquely Russian.
Yeah.
That caters to the specific needs and preferences of their population.
That's an ambitious goal.
It is.
But building a whole ecosystem from scratch can't be easy.
No, it's no small feat.
What are some of the specific hurdles they might face?
Well, one major challenge that's highlighted in the document is the uneven development of regional infrastructure. You know, Russia's a vast country.
Right.
And ensuring that everyone has equal access to financial services, regardless of where they live, is crucial for any national payment system to thrive.
They can't just focus on like Moscow and St. Petersburg.
They can't, exactly.
Yeah.
They need to make sure everyone can participate.
Right.
Even those in remote regions.
It's like that saying, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link.
Exactly.
If certain areas are lagging behind in terms of infrastructure, it could hold the whole system back.
It could create bottlenecks and limit the overall effectiveness of the system.
Okay, and then there's the ever-present issue of cybersecurity.
Oh, absolutely.
As payments become increasingly digital and interconnected. Yeah. The risk of fraud and cyber attacks grows exponentially.
It does, and the 2023 oversight report actually shows that while Russia made significant progress in reducing unauthorized transactions between 2015 and 2019, new technologies inevitably bring new vulnerabilities.
Right.
It's a constant cat and mouse game.
They even talk about the threat of social engineering, right?
They do.
Tricking people into giving up sensitive information through clever schemes.
It's scary how sophisticated these scams are becoming.
It is.
And according to the report, that tactic was used in over 65% of unauthorized transactions in just the first 3 quarters of 2020.
Gosh.
It's a stark reminder that safeguarding the system and maintaining user trust is absolutely paramount.
Right.
You know, people need to feel confident that their money is safe.
Right.
Or the whole system could crumble.
Yeah. So they're dealing with pressure from global tech giants.
Right.
Infrastructural challenges. And the constant threat of cyber attacks.
Yeah.
That's a lot to juggle.
It's a lot to juggle.
It's like they're walking a tightrope.
Indeed.
And we haven't even touched on the macroeconomic risks.
Right.
The strategy document acknowledges that a downturn in the economy could have a significant impact on the stability of their payment system.
Absolutely. A strong economy is the foundation for a strong payment system and vice versa.
Right.
They're very much intertwined.
And of course, there are the geopolitical factors, which are always a wild card.
Always a wild card, yes.
As the strategy document points out, international relations can be unpredictable.
They can.
And sometimes economic measures are used to achieve political goals.
That's right. It's a complex interplay.
It's a delicate balance.
It is.
Yeah, it's a complex landscape with a lot of moving pieces and potential pitfalls.
It is, but despite these challenges, the National Payment System Oversight Results 2023 report paints a picture of resilience and progress.
Okay.
Cashless payments continue to grow.
The Mir system is gaining momentum.
Right.
And the Bank of Russia is actively promoting innovation and competition.
Right.
So they're definitely committed to building a strong and independent payment system.
That's encouraging to hear.
It is.
It'll be fascinating to watch how these trends play out in the coming years.
Absolutely.
So what are some of the concrete steps they're taking to modernize their payment system?
Well, one example that stands out is their effort to implement the ISO 2022 standard.
Okay, break it down for me.
Sure.
What is ISO 2022?
All right, so think of ISO 2022 as a universal language for financial transactions.
Great.
A global standard for exchanging electronic messages in the financial world.
Okay.
It's like having everyone speak the same language.
Right.
Which makes communication much smoother and more efficient.
So Russia's trying to get everyone on the same page, speaking the same financial language.
Exactly.
And the strategy document lays out a multi-stage plan for implementing ISO 2022, starting with the Bank of Russia Payment System, or BRPS.
Okay.
They're leading by example.
Great.
Aiming to support ISO 2022-based payment messages within the BRPS within the next 3 years.
Right.
And the document even highlights how this could lead to significant cost savings for everyone involved.
Okay.
By streamlining how payment information is processed.
Right.
So it's a win-win situation.
So they're starting with their own system.
Yeah.
And then branching out.
That's the plan.
Okay.
Eventually, they want to expand ISO 2022 across the entire national payment system.
Right.
They're even working with other countries in the Eurasian Economic Union.
Okay.
To harmonize their approach to this standard.
Right.
So it's all about creating a more integrated and efficient payment ecosystem.
Right. Across borders.
Across borders, exactly.
That sounds like a smart move.
It is. It's about creating a more interconnected and interoperable financial world.
A more connected and streamlined system benefits everyone, right?
Absolutely. It reduces friction, it lowers costs, it improves speed. It's all good things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also opens the door for some exciting new technologies.
It does.
Like the use of big data to analyze transaction data.
Exactly.
The document emphasizes how ISO 2022's detailed data structure makes this kind of analysis much easier and more effective.
It does. It provides a richer and more standardized data set to work with.
So imagine being able to glean valuable insights from all those transactions.
It's like having a powerful microscope to examine the flow of money and identify patterns and trends that you might not otherwise see.
That's pretty amazing.
It is.
And they're also embracing open APIs, right?
Yes, open APIs are crucial.
So it's things that let different systems talk to each other seamlessly.
They're like digital bridges connecting different parts of the financial world.
So they're crucial for fostering innovation and competition in the payment sector.
Absolutely, because they allow for easier integration between banks, payment providers, even those big tech companies we discussed earlier.
Right.
So it's all about creating a more interconnected and dynamic ecosystem where different players can collaborate and compete.
So it's all about creating a more interconnected and dynamic ecosystem where different players can collaborate and compete.
Precisely. And the document highlights how the Bank of Russia is actively working with market participants to develop and implement open API standards.
Okay.
So it's an ongoing process.
Right.
But they see it as essential for creating a modern and competitive payment landscape that can thrive in the digital age.
It sounds like they're really trying to cover all the bases here.
They are. They're thinking very strategically about how to position themselves for the future.
But there's one thing I'm still curious about. This whole open banking concept, It sounds pretty transformative.
It is. It's a big deal.
Can you elaborate on what it is and why it's such a big deal?
Sure. So open banking is all about giving you, the consumer, more control over your financial data.
Okay.
Imagine being able to securely share your banking information with third-party apps and services.
Okay.
Things like budgeting tools, investment platforms, even other banks.
So like breaking down those silos between different financial institutions.
Exactly.
Okay.
With open banking, you could potentially manage all your finances from a single platform, regardless of which banks or providers you use.
Right.
It could lead to a much more personalized and streamlined financial experience.
That sounds incredibly convenient.
It is.
But what about security?
Right.
Isn't it risky to share your banking data with so many different apps and services?
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
And security is absolutely paramount in open banking.
Right.
The idea is to create a secure and standardized way for data to be shared with your explicit consent.
Okay.
It's like giving a trusted friend a key to your house.
Right.
But you still control who has access and what they can do.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So open banking is about empowering consumers and fostering innovation in the financial sector.
Exactly. And it aligns perfectly with the Bank of Russia's goals of creating a more diverse and competitive payment landscape.
Right.
By opening up access to data, they're essentially leveling the playing field.
Yeah.
And allowing new players to enter the market with innovative products and services.
That's pretty cool.
It is, yeah.
It sounds like Russia's really embracing the potential of technology to transform its financial system.
They are. They're very much at the forefront of this digital transformation in the financial sector.
But shifting gears a bit, we talked about some of the cybersecurity challenges that they face.
Right.
Can you delve a bit deeper into how they're addressing those threats?
Sure.
What specific measures are they taking to protect the system and its users?
Well, that's a great question, and it's something that the National Payment System Oversight Results 2023 report addresses in detail.
Okay.
One of the key areas of focus is enhancing fraud prevention measures.
Okay.
They're investing in advanced technologies like artificial intelligence and machine learning to detect and prevent fraudulent transactions in real time.
So it's like having a digital detective.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Constantly monitoring the system for suspicious activity.
That sounds pretty high tech.
It is. It's cutting edge stuff.
So they're using the power of AI to fight back against cyber criminals.
They are. They're using technology to fight technology.
Yeah, it's like an arms race.
It is in the digital world.
Yeah. So they're also implementing stricter authentication protocols.
They are.
Think multi-factor authentication where you need more than just a password.
Exactly.
To access your accounts.
Right. It's about adding layers of security to make it much harder for unauthorized access.
And they're also pushing for greater awareness and education among consumers.
They are.
About cybersecurity best practices.
Right, because even the most sophisticated technology can be undermined if people fall for phishing scams or share their passwords carelessly.
So it's a multi-pronged approach.
It is.
Involving technology, regulations, and education.
Exactly. It's a holistic strategy.
Right.
That addresses all aspects of the cybersecurity challenge.
And they're also strengthening partnerships with law enforcement agencies.
They are.
To crack down on cybercrime.
Right. It's a collaborative effort.
So they're essentially building a comprehensive defense system.
They are.
To protect the national payment system and its users.
It's about creating a multi-layered security architecture.
It sounds like they're taking cybersecurity very seriously, which is reassuring.
They are. They recognize the importance of it in this digital age.
But what about the human factor?
Right.
We talked about social engineering earlier.
We did.
How are they addressing the vulnerability of people being tricked into giving up sensitive information?
That's where education and awareness campaigns come into play.
Okay.
The Bank of Russia is actively working to educate the public about common social engineering tactics.
Okay.
Like phishing emails and smishing attacks via text messages.
Yeah.
They're teaching people how to spot red flags and avoid falling victim to these scams.
So it's about empowering people to be more vigilant,
more aware,
and protect themselves.
Exactly. They're emphasizing the importance of being skeptical, verifying information, and never sharing sensitive data like passwords or PINs over the phone or email.
Oh.
It's all about creating a culture of cybersecurity awareness where everyone plays a role in protecting themselves and the system as a whole.
That's great to hear.
It is.
It seems like they're really pulling out all the stops.
They are.
To build a secure and resilient national payment system.
They're committed to it.
Yeah, but we've talked a lot about the domestic landscape.
Right.
What about the international implications of all this?
Okay.
We touched on Mir's limited international acceptance.
Yeah.
But what about the digital ruble?
Right.
Could it have like global ambitions?
That's a fascinating question, and it's one that's generating a lot of buzz in the financial world.
Yeah.
The potential for the digital ruble to extend beyond Russia's borders is definitely there.
Okay.
But it faces significant hurdles.
What kind of hurdles are we talking about?
Well, for starters, there's the geopolitical climate. As we discussed earlier, international relations can be unpredictable.
Right.
And there's a certain level of distrust towards Russia in some quarters.
Right.
This could make it difficult for the digital ruble to gain widespread acceptance outside of Russia's traditional sphere of influence.
It's like trying to launch a new currency in a world where people are skeptical of your motives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, trust is a crucial factor in any currency's success.
Right.
And Russia has some work to do in that regard.
And then there are the technical and regulatory challenges.
Right.
Different countries have different regulations governing digital currencies.
They do.
And harmonizing those regulations would be a complex and time-consuming process.
It would. It would be a major undertaking.
Plus, there are security concerns that need to be addressed.
Absolutely.
A global digital currency would be a prime target for cyber attacks.
It would.
And ensuring its security and stability would be paramount.
It would be absolutely critical.
Yeah. So it's not just a matter of flipping a switch and launching the digital ruble globally.
Not at all. It would require a lot of coordination, collaboration, and trust building between nations.
Yeah.
It's a big lift.
That makes sense. But hypothetically, let's say they do manage to overcome these hurdles.
Okay.
What could the global implications of a successful digital ruble be? How could it potentially reshape the financial landscape?
That's a question that's keeping a lot of economists and policymakers up at night.
Yeah.
One potential outcome is that it could challenge the dominance of the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency.
Right.
You know, if the digital ruble gains widespread acceptance, and becomes a preferred medium of exchange for international trade,
right,
it could gradually erode the dollar's influence.
Wow, that would be a seismic shift in the global financial order.
Oh. It would be a major realignment of global financial power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could also lead to a more multipolar financial system,
right,
where power is distributed among multiple currencies.
Exactly.
Rather than concentrated in a single currency.
It would be a more decentralized and potentially more balanced system. Yeah.
This could have both positive and negative implications.
It could.
Yeah.
Depending on how it plays out.
It's fascinating to think about the potential ripple effects of something like the digital ruble.
It is. It really is.
Yeah, it really highlights how technology is blurring the lines between domestic and international financial systems.
It is. Technology is the great disruptor.
Yeah.
And it's transforming the financial world in ways that we're only just beginning to understand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it underscores the importance of staying informed.
It does.
About these developments and their potential impact on our lives.
Well, absolutely. The future of finance is being shaped right now. And it's crucial to understand the forces at play.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
And speaking of understanding the forces at play,
yes,
we talked about the digital ruble as a potential tool for greater government control,
right,
over financial flows.
Yeah.
Can you unpack that a bit more?
Sure.
What are the specific concerns around that aspect?
Well, one of the key concerns is that a government-backed digital currency could give authorities unprecedented visibility into citizens' financial transactions.
Right.
Unlike cash, which is largely anonymous, every digital ruble transaction would be recorded and traceable.
Right. So it's like having a digital trail for for every financial move you make.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this raises important questions about how that data would be used and protected.
Right. Would it be used solely for legitimate purposes?
Yeah.
Like preventing fraud and money laundering? Or could it be used to monitor dissent or target individuals based on their spending habits?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a chilling thought.
It is.
It sounds like the potential for abuse is quite high.
It's definitely a valid concern, and it's something that policymakers and privacy advocates are grappling with.
Right.
As digital currencies gain traction around the world.
Right.
Striking a balance between security, efficiency, and individual rights.
Right.
Is a complex challenge.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
And it's not just about privacy either, right?
Right.
There are also concerns about financial control.
Yes.
Could the government potentially use the digital ruble to exert greater influence over people's financial decisions?
They could. A centrally controlled digital currency could give the government the ability to implement targeted spending policies. For example, they could theoretically restrict the use of digital rubles for certain types of purchases, or even incentivize specific spending behaviors.
Right.
This could be used for good, promoting investment in certain sectors, or encouraging people to save.
Right.
But it also raises concerns about government overreach and potential manipulation of the economy.
Right. It's a lot to consider.
It is.
And it really underscores the potential for both good and bad that comes with this kind of technology.
It's a double-edged sword for sure.
Yeah.
But it's crucial to have these conversations and weigh the potential benefits and risks carefully.
Right.
The decisions we make today about digital currencies will have far-reaching consequences.
Right.
For the future of finance.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Good.
It's clear that Russia's national payment system is evolving rapidly, and it's a story that's full of intrigue, ambition, and potential pitfalls.
It is. It's a fascinating case study in how a country is trying to reshape its financial system.
And as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'm left with a sense of both excitement and caution about what the future holds.
I think that's a healthy perspective to have.
Yeah.
The world of payments is changing before our eyes.
It is.
And it's both fascinating and a bit daunting.
It is.
Yeah.
But knowledge is power.
It is.
And the more we understand about these developments,
right,
the better equipped we'll be to navigate the changing financial landscape.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the final part of our deep dive, where we'll explore what this all means for you,
right,
and what questions you should be asking yourself as these trends continue to unfold.
I'm eager to hear your insights on that.
All right, let's get into it.
Okay, so we've explored the nuts and bolts of Russia's national payment system.
We have.
From their homegrown Mir cards to the ambitious digital ruble project.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
And we've also uncovered some of the challenges they face,
right,
like competition from big tech and the ever-present threat of cyber attacks.
It's a complex landscape.
Yeah, but what does all this mean for you, the listener?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Russia's payment system evolution might seem like a distant event, something happening on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
But in today's interconnected global economy, what happens in one country can have ripple effects that reach far beyond its borders.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. We're all part of this global financial web, even if we don't always see the connections.
Exactly. So as Russia forges its own path in the world of payments, it raises some important questions that we should all be thinking about.
Right. Like,
for example, what does the rise of Mir and the potential emergence of the digital ruble mean for the global dominance of the U.S. dollar?
That's a big one.
It is a big one.
We've grown so accustomed to the dollar being the king of the financial hill.
Right. It's been the reserve currency for decades.
Yeah. Could we be on the cusp of a major power shift here?
It's certainly possible.
Okay.
If Russia's efforts to create a more independent and influential payment system are successful,
right,
it could chip away at the dollar's dominance. And if other countries follow suit, you know, pursuing their own digital currencies and alternative payment networks, the global financial landscape could look very different in the years to come.
Wow, that's a pretty mind-blowing thought.
It is. It's a big shift that we're potentially witnessing.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what a multipolar world of currencies would look like.
Right.
And what it would mean for everyday transactions, investments.
Right.
Even things like international travel.
It would affect everything.
Yeah.
It would really change the way we think about money and how we use it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a complex issue with a lot of moving parts.
Right.
But here's another question to consider.
Okay.
What are the implications for financial privacy in a world where governments have greater visibility into digital transactions? You know, the digital ruble with its potential for centralized tracking brings this question into sharp focus.
Yeah, that's a bit unsettling, to be honest.
It is, yeah.
You know, we've talked about the potential for surveillance and control.
Right.
It makes you think twice about the trade-offs between convenience and privacy in a digital world.
It's a delicate balance for sure. And as digital currencies become more prevalent, you know, we'll need to have open and honest conversations about how to protect individual rights and freedoms in this new landscape. We can't simply sacrifice privacy at the altar of convenience or security. Right.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's a discussion we need to have as a society.
It is. It's an important one.
Yeah, so as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one key takeaway you'd like listeners to ponder?
Sure.
What's the big so what here?
The key takeaway, I think, is that the world of payments is in a state of flux.
Okay.
The rules of the game are changing, and we need to pay attention. You know, Russia's experiment with Mir, the digital ruble, and other innovations is just one example of this broader trend.
Right.
Whether these initiatives ultimately succeed or fail, they highlight the importance of staying informed about the evolving financial landscape and understanding the potential implications.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. We can't just bury our heads in the sand and pretend these changes aren't happening.
We can't ignore it.
We need to engage in the conversation and make informed decisions about the kind of financial future we want to create.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that future is being shaped right now. So stay curious, keep exploring, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Yeah. The more we understand about the forces at play, the better equipped we'll be to navigate the exciting and sometimes uncertain world of finance.
Well said.
Thank you.
That wraps up our deep dive into Russia's national payment system.
Yes, it does.
We hope you found this exploration insightful and thought-provoking.
I hope so.
As always, we encourage you to continue the conversation on social media.
Yes.
Share your thoughts, your questions, and your predictions about the future of payments.
We'd love to hear from you.
We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
Thanks for joining us.
See you outside.